All right. Good evening, Hobby World. Thanks for joining us live tonight for episode 46 of Personal Rips and Hobby Chat. Joining me tonight, as always, is Ken from Beans B Card Blog, and I'm Herman, aka 3B Collection. We're here every Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern to talk about our hobby and yours. Feel free to join into conversation and chat. I misspoke last week because we had a little blunder and got started 30 minutes late. And I think I called it episode 47. I skipped 2 somewhere, but we are on episode 46, and it's all.
I just add them to the playlist.
That's it. Morning, George. First in chat. Bam.
First, people don't do that like they used to.
First time caller, long time listener.
Well, that one, but I was talking about like just on online, like people would be like first. Like it was cool to be the first one to comment and say first.
Oh, yeah. I got you.
Yeah.
So how's it been going?
It's been going. Been working a lot on getting organized / downsizing. Still getting more stuff out for consignment. I made a nice trade at my CS on Sunday. I had months ago bought some of the the 4-row boxes that, right, top orders, the wider ones. Well, I decided I didn't really want to use those, and I had them. So I said something when I was in there Saturday, and I was like, yeah, I'm more interested in the thinner ones because I'm taking most of my personal collection, putting it into sleeves, and then putting it into the 4-row boxes. So I want those tighter ones. He's like, yeah, come on in. We'll switch them out for you. So I go in. So Saturday I go and I buy a 500 pack of the top of the sleeves and one 4-row box, the one with the full lid that's the little bit more narrow. How much you think I spent?
You got how many of them?
4-row monster box and 500 right. sleeves and 500 sleeves.
$25. $20.
Oh, you went even higher. I thought it was ridiculous that it was 18. The damn box, the cardboard box, was $8. I took the old ones in to switch. When I had bought those, they were 2 for $8.50.
Yeah.
At first he looked at it. It's like, okay, I'll give you $24. He's like, okay, I'll get you $24. I'm like, no. I'm not selling them back to you so you can double the price on them. You told me you were going to trade it for me because that's what I want. Because you also, not only is the price ridiculous, you're only allowed to buy one per week.
Right. So how much?
I was able to get 6 of them right there.
Wow. So how much are your sleeves?
2 cents a piece. You can buy 2 100 counts at $2 a piece, or you can buy one of the 500 counts at $10.
Yeah. They're not penny sleeves anymore.
No, and and everybody talks about, oh, well, they'll drop them back down to a penny when things get. I don't think they ever will. I don't. Why would you? Yeah. People are going to pay for sleeves.
So George says they're about $15 a piece in Korea.
Well, I guess I can see that. Probably having to import them and all that kind of stuff because I think these are made in the States. I could be wrong. But
I've learned that I try to hold off on my supplies and pick those up when I go to the show in Spartanburg because, like with boxes, I get the boxes a whole lot cheaper there than trying to order them online. Because if I order them online, I have to get so many of them just to justify the shipping. And even then, I'm probably $4 or $5 a piece over what I could pick them up there for.
Well, that makes sense, especially since it sounds like your LCS isn't carrying them.
Not yet. Not yet.
I've got multiple card shops in the area that I could pick them up from if need be.
Well, he's only been open now for about 3 months. And he did get an account with BCW for the boxes, and he has orders in. But if you go on BCW's website, everything they have is back ordered to like November, December next year. So he'll start getting them
eventually.
But,
Yeah, it's one of those things where the spike in prices has caused me to do things differently, and one of the things I'm doing differently is getting pretty organized, but that comes at its own cost with supplies being in somewhat short supply. I mean, now I will say there are plenty of things I have in excess of. Like I'm getting everything out of the 5-row boxes. I've got about 10 or 12 of those that I'm just going to like put on the local buy sell trade and be like $30 takes all these. They're used, and then I've got 7 of the 2-row boxes of used top loaders, and more than a case of unused, unopened top loaders. So I'm good on those, but I'm actually getting away from that. So
yeah, and that was one of the questions
that was a long answer to how am I doing?
Yeah, that's kind of what the direction I wanted to head. I posed a question. I don't know, it was the last week, a couple weeks ago, about how everybody sorted or kept their like a PC player, like and for instance, like mine, Freddie Freeman. I've been accumulating Freemans, and I've got them right now. I've got them in a 4-row, a 30 was it 3200 count, 3600 count box.
Yeah, one of those two.
And I've got them separated by year. Well, I've gotten to the point now to where I want to put them. I want to do something with them. I want to put them in binders so you can flip through and you can look at them. But the question I'd ask was like, because some years I have just the base card. Some years I have the base plus 3 or 4 parallels. Some years I have the base plus 7 or 8 parallels. But it's like, how do you store them, or how do you put them in binders? Because if I put, say, 2015, for example, if I've got the base plus 3 parallels and I put them in order for that year, and then I keep, I jump to 2013, I don't want to go back 2 weeks later and find another parallel of 2012 and then have to reshuffle. And I was just kind of wondering if people kept like a binder with just the base and then a binder for, say, maybe the parallels, and just leave a page per year or something. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean?
So I was moving to Z folios. So I have my Russ Davis collection in a Z folio because I can fit all of his cards in one Z folio. He doesn't have cards anymore. I mean, his last cards, I think his last playing day cards were 2002. The only way he has additional cards now, he wasn't a good enough, he wasn't a star that's going to be put into anything unless like the rediscover tops, he had some of those. So that one is easy for me because, and I've also got like 80% of his cards. So I just leave a space for the ones I don't have, assuming I would get them. But you run into a unique challenge with someone like Freddie Freeman, who is still playing, who there are still plenty of cards that are possible for you to get at a good price. What if you find a 200 card Freddie Freeman lot on eBay? Maybe you need 50 of them.
Mm-hmm.
Or in my case, take Charles Barkley. I was going to put him into a binder or to a Z folio, but then I'm like, he's got like 3,000 something unique cards. I've got a few hundred. Yeah, I would have to do kind of what you're saying, and I would have to move everything all the time, and that's just not something I want to do.
No.
So my answer to your question is what I'm doing, and that's like I've got a 4-row box that has a row dedicated to Barkley, a row dedicated to Jordan, a row dedicated to Jason Williams, and a row dedicated to Bobby Sura. And then other ones are just going to have, the dividers in there because I only have, those aren't guys that I necessarily PC, but I keep the cards. Over in baseball, I'm going to keep any Mike Trouts that come my way that I find a lot that's a good price or something. Yes, those. Now I use the see, that says LX album. I thought the LX was the 12 pocket, but I use the 12 pocket ones. They're a little bit bigger, but that's definitely what I use. But yeah, I don't think there's a right or wrong answer to your dilemma. It's all about you. Do you like moving the cards around all the time? And here's the other thing that finally, to me, I just asked myself, how often do I actually pull out a binder and look through it? I really don't. And I'm not saying that. I'm sure there are plenty of people that do. So for them, binders maybe are more of the answer. I was going the binder route, and I put a lot of stuff in that been in floaters, but now I'm moving them from the binders now into just penny sleeves and putting them into a box and separating them by, if it's a set I'm trying to put together, the set is together, or if it's players, the player is together. And that's what I'm doing, but I'm, like I said, not one that's going to go and pull out a binder every week and go through it. I rarely do it. When I was going through the binders, pulling cards out, there was stuff in there I, again, forgotten I had. So.
As Zach said, he just reorganized his binders of Frank's, Pudge, and Bo. All cards in chronological order as they show up alphabetically on trading card database. Leave an open page as I may organize them by year.
And now I'm using trading card database. I'm just using it in box form. I'm putting them in that same order based on that. And then the other thing that makes it easy is if I get a couple new ones, I kind of know where I need to go put them based on, because I got them in order.
Yep.
So yeah, so it's.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, but yeah. So mine is by year, by alphabetical, but a lot of trading card database, they don't list it the same way that Beckett lists it. So. Or if you do if you do ComC, you can do by year, and then it's alphabetical. Every one of them kind of goes their own little way on how they the naming method that they use.
Yeah, I've kind of gotten down the way that the trading card database order has their cards in the order they have them in, and because that's where I have all mine listed. That's kind of the way I try to keep them in the box. So that, if I get another one, I can, or if I'm looking for one in particular, I can go to that year and I know about, to, instead of pulling it up online, whatever, if I've got the box sitting here, I can flip through and see if I have it. But in the same way, when you asked me about the Freddie Freeman, the 87, or not the 87 version card, I mean, I didn't have my computer on, but I had the box sitting here, and I just, I flipped right through the year and flipped through, and I saw that I had the refractor version or whatever version I had, but not the one you showed me. But that, and I don't always list them. I don't always check them off on trading card database when I get them. Mm-hmm. So if I go back through, sometimes I'll go through and just check, and then if it's not there, I can add it, and it's I won't have to backtrack as much. So,
and that's where I'm trying to get with what I'm doing. I'm trying to get to where everything, at least as best as can be, is on trading card database. It's not a perfect system because we all know that we've got cards that, in for whatever reason, it happens. But that's what I'm going for, to where, I can go, if, like you said, if you say, hey, do you have this Dale Murphy? I've got an extra one. I can just go and look it up and be done with it. Look it up on the computer. And he's talking about duplicates. Like, I'm actually going to be keeping the duplicates. So I wanted to actually just get rid of a lot of that stuff and say, like, on a Dale Murphy, I keep 5 cards because I have 5 autographs, a couple of game used. But then I realized, being part of the Twitter community, being part of the YouTube community, I have a lot of people that like to send me stuff. I like
Mhm.
to send stuff. I've sent you a box. I've sent Diego a box. Zach, at some point I will get his box out to him. But if all I'm collecting is, if my PC is in one 3-row box, nobody can really send me anything because what I'm so I'm kind of collecting that stuff because it is still fun to do. And then, when when George sends me some cards back, I either a sticker, have a label maker, or if somebody sends me like 100 something, I don't do 100 labels because it takes a long time and is kind of expensive. I write on the back of the sleeve in a Sharpie who it came from.
Mm-hmm.
So that I have that stuff. If I decide, okay, I need to go get rid of all, 10 years down the road, I need to go get rid of all these multiples because I have too many. Well, I'm going to keep the ones that were given to me and the ones that I either acquired before, somebody gave to me before that I just don't have it on there, or something that I bought. Those will be the ones I get rid of. But yeah, I just trying to do all that, and it's a lot of work. It's going to take, hoping to be organized maybe by 2023. But once I am, I'm going to feel so much relief about pretty much knowing what I have and where it is at any given time.
Right.
I know Bo likes the thrill of his hunt in his Cubs cards, and I can understand that. But just my preference is the other way. I've been to where I don't know where stuff is, and now I probably have less cards now than I've had probably since I was a kid. So it's easier to do.
Yeah. And that's, well, I want to, I try to seek out like Freeman cards and Murphy cards that I don't have. But at the same time, if I run up on like you said, like a lot of 50 and I get them, I'll go through and find out the ones I don't have, but I don't get rid of the others either. So, well,
Even
when it comes to like Freeman and Murphy,
yeah,
now
I get you.
now the rest of them, as long as I've got one for my binder set, that's all I need.
Yeah. And I'm even going to put on my trading card database, like my profile page, that stuff that's in my collection, listed under my collection, isn't necessarily untouchable. Especially in a case where, like I said, you have like Barclays. I know that when I finally get all these Barclays organized, there's going to be ones I've got a dozen of. Those aren't touchable. I'm not going to necessarily get rid of them because maybe I'm able to trade those with another collector someday. So I'm not going to get rid of them just to get rid of them, but I'm also going to, at that point I'll be like, stuff is not necessarily untouchable if it's PC, because I may have, 5 of a given card. There's going to be Mike Trout's in there where I've bought lots where I've got like a dozen of his Topps flagship. They're going to be in my collection. I'm not going to actively look to sell or trade them, but they're there.
Yeah, I feel you. And I may do that once I get ready to start setting up the binder. And I want to, I know which ones I want. I don't have to get below, like, say, numbered to 20 parallels. I like to have at least the 50s. And so maybe I'll just, when I set it up, I'll leave room for those. Don't care about the memorabilia and the autograph cards because those are probably 90% of those are sticker autographs anyway.
Yeah, and on those, it's just I think it's every person's their own demeanor and their own way of looking at it. If I'm going through and it's a player collection and I see a whole bunch of holes, I'm like, I got to go get this. I got to go look for this. I got to fill this up. I don't like it looking empty. Is where if I'm doing it the way that I'm doing it now, it's more of just when I acquire them. Like, I bought a lot of Barkley cards off Twitter a couple weeks ago, and it was like, 70, 75 cards. I didn't know what I had, what I didn't have, but I got that, and then I bought a lot. I did a Sport Lots auction, and it was like 250 Barkley cards.
Right.
So, I don't. It's just like I add them. I don't feel like I have to get XYZ card. Do I have, in the case of Barkley, because he's a player from my youth? For you it would be Murphy, maybe. Are there certain ones out there that I don't have that I do want? Yeah, I have a few key ones. But in general, if I don't have, a given Donruss subset card, it's not the end of the world. If it's in a box, I don't feel like I necessarily have to chase it. But if I'm looking at that binder with some consistency, I'm like, oh, I've still got so far to go. I'm going to feel like I need to add to it. And I don't want to have that. That's just, but again, everybody is so unique and everybody's personality is so different. And that always translates into how we collect and what we collect.
Yeah. So I still don't know exactly how I want to do it. I may just do it by year, like I have it in the box, sort out what I have and put them in as best order as I can, and save a couple of pages in here and there to add the extra later.
Yeah,
I know you said that you don't really go through binders and look through them that much, but I feel like as far as sets, I don't do that either. If I've got a complete set, I don't necessarily go through it and flip through it all the time, unless I'm going back and just looking at a particular year for a particular player to see, but now I do. And matter of fact, I just did this about an hour ago before we went on. My grandson's here with me. So, and everybody knows I've said this a million times that I always be sure to build a set for every one of my kids and their birth year and all my grandkids. And my oldest grandson was the reason why I got back into collecting, because I wanted to build a set for him. So I had him in here with me, and I pulled the binder out with the 2019 top set, and we flipped through it. I let him flip through it and look at them, and he's not at the age where he can actually take care of cards, but he's getting to the point now of, after being over here enough and coming back here with me, that he's interested.
And that's the thing, you do go through them. So what I'm doing with my organizing and everything just doesn't work for you. And that's one of the things, because I know that on different streams, with different people, I've been on a lot of podcasts and things like that, and there's no right answer, because we all are such individual, collectors, and our personalities are different, and how we enjoy our collection is different. If you're somebody that likes to flip through binders a couple times a week, my method isn't going to work for you.
Yeah.
So, you just kind of have to figure out, in the moment. But I mean, I've switched how I've done it so many times, because, even, you talk about your personality, but even your personality changes over time, or whatever your priority is. Part of my priority is to condense my collection as much as possible. A lot of that is through getting rid of the excess. A lot of that is putting it into as tight a quarters as I can to minimize the space that it takes for, the next, when my wife and I move, I would be more than happy to move half of what I had, before I downsized and condensed and all that kind of stuff. So, just so many factors. And that's why there's no answer that can umbrella cover everybody. There's just so many different ways, you enjoying with your grandson, Zach enjoying with his son, Diego with his son or his grandkids. It changes what and how you go about it.
Yeah, because I just know that
what's best for you.
I just know that, like, even now with like the box will have all my Freemans in, and the box will have my Murphys in. If I'm not like actively doing something with it at the moment, it goes in on the shelf in the closet. And 9 times out of 10, between doing trades or through trading card database stuff, boxes get pulled out and get put back in, and they get up on the bottom, and you don't feel like digging them out. But like with my binders, they stay on the shelf, and I just feel like if it's something I could just reach and grab and flip through every once in a while, it may be something I could enjoy more instead of just sitting in the closet knowing I got them and just not seeing them.
Yeah, and I've seen many YouTube videos and a lot of different people. So you have, I figure some of the people in the chat follow him. Could even be on Twitter. He's on there as well, but he's not as active there. Garrett, Card Cutter. He had a custom piece of furniture, so like a storage furniture made, and his entire collection fits in that. Now he collects differently. You know, he collects, he does a lot of PSA DNA slabs. He's an autograph guy.
Right.
So he's got his all in that one area. And that's kind of what I'm trying to do. I have a, like, I don't want to say industrial strength, but it's a very heavy steel. You know, it's not very visually appealing. It's gray and black. You know, it's ugly. It's metallic looking. But I want to have everything of mine card related on that shelving unit. And it's a work in progress. So everything will be there. Other guys have card rooms, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know, I just want to have mine as tight as I can. And that's just the way I want to go about it, you know. And like I said, everything works differently for everyone. And hopefully once fully organized, I won't say I'm OCD about having stuff in order, but when I have everything in order, I want to keep everything in order.
Yeah.
So hopefully, kind of what you said, you know, my hope is that it won't happen. It's all just on one shelving unit where I can see everything. I can pull box X out, and then when I'm done with it, you know, I put whatever needed to go in, I can just put it right back in place. Because I'm using, another thing I'm doing is I told you I'm using those 4 rows with the full lids for my PC. Well, I have a crap ton of 3-row boxes. Well, I don't want to have those. I don't really like the shape of them. But what I'm using those for is anything that's a trader, like either for trading card database or other stuff that I don't have on there. Like, you know, I've got a box of stuff that's higher end that's not PC. That stuff will go in those boxes, so I can, you know, just know by looking at the box, I have a rough idea of what's in there.
Yeah.
Right now, the 2-row boxes are holding supplies, top loaders, sleeves, things like that.
Yeah. And I'm almost to the point where since I've gotten back in and buying like bulk of base stuff to build sets, I'm to the point now to where I've gotten 5 or 6 years, maybe let's say about 7 years of bulk base stuff built up to where I'm about to the point where I just want to throw it in a medium flat rate box and sell it for whatever to bring. Because I've gotten everything out of it I need. I've built my sets out of it. I've went through and I've pulled a few, you know, rookie stars, stuff like that, and traded. I've pulled all the Cubs is gone. I don't have a Cub in here out of those sets. They all went to Bo. And other teams for other people, but at this point they're just sitting there. I never even touch them. So I'm like, I was looking at them the other day thinking I'm finna get me a bunch of medium flat rate boxes, pack them full, and I mean if they bring $5-10, whatever, get rid of them and start over.
Yeah, I mean there's so many possibilities there. You could literally get them sorted and get them put on trading card database as traders. You could kind of do what you could do what you said and send, you know, this team to this collector. You know, there's a lot of possibilities, but kind of what you're saying, there's a lot of time involved with all that, and that's what I'm dealing with my reorganization as well. Is you know, you just have to keep in mind at all times that you're not going to get this done in a week.
No,
it's going to be a long process. You know, I've been working on it for a few months now, pretty much since the beginning of the year. I've just kicked it into a higher gear lately, but I don't anticipate that I'll be done, and that's going to be an air quote because I don't know that it'll ever be done.
Yeah.
But, I don't have any illusions of having it done before 2023.
Now, that's one thing I will say that the ones that I was just talking about, this was it 6 or 7 years worth, and that's goes back, say what, 2018 through 21, plus 84s and 85s. Now, all of those are on trading card database now, because when I sorted them, I went ahead and put them on then, and then pulled my sets and took them out that way, and that's what I've been trading from. And that's what I'm saying. I've pretty much traded through all those to where
Gotcha.
they've been nitpicked and everybody's got what they want, and I'm down now to just what's left. So just box all of them up, get rid of them, and just start from scratch from this year. Now I may keep like last year and this year, because some of that stuff still moves on trading card.
Mm-hmm.
But once you get past that, it doesn't do a whole lot. So,
and the set builder sets move, the Ginters, the Heritage, even the older ones of those will move. But then my next question for you, and again, this is the great thing about just talking. We go off on a complete tangent and have a conversation. So when you're trading, are you usually the one sending their trade requests, or do you pretty much just, so there you go. You may have somebody that's a Diamondbacks collector and is looking for 200 of the Diamondbacks cards you have that nobody sent, but he is also one that maybe is more passive in his trading. Right now, I'm accepting trades, but I'm not, because I know I have so much left to go, I'm not even trying to look. But that's where you can go into your own collection and be like, okay, what do I have a lot of? And who can I find that maybe is working on this set, or is this team, or maybe even go into the chat and be like, hey, I've got, 500 Diamondbacks cards. Are there any Diamondback collectors that have 500 Braves? We just make a blind trade.
Yeah. Now I have reached out, like went through some of the stuff, like on my the Braves team set binders. I have gone through and just like picked a period of 5 years and just started actively looking and trying to find somebody that had maybe 10 or 12 of them, and then seeing if I had 10 or 12 or 15 that they wanted. There's been a lot of times where I've offered up like 20, 25 cars for 10 cars, just because, I know that at this point I've gotten everything out of the box I want. If I can get 10 Braves cards that I don't have for 20 cards that I don't need, I'm fine with sending it to somebody like that.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that makes perfect sense. It accomplishes two goals. It gets what you want in, and it gets out stuff, like you said, especially if it's stuff that's from 2013 or something like that.
Yep.
Like I said, I just talking through kind of some of the stuff you said. I mean, there's always somebody out there that's looking for something. Everything we have, somebody would take it. It's just how much time we have to put into finding who can take it. There's somebody that will trade. Like, I just keep picking on Diamondbacks because I don't know that I've ever encountered a Diamondbacks collector. There's somebody that would take those 500 Diamondbacks cards off of you if you were willing to take 100 Braves back.
Yep.
It's just, you got to find them. And, we keep talking about trading card database, but I mean, I do think that's by far the best site for making trades that are, common base low end trades. If there's another site that's better for it, I'd like to know what it is, but I don't believe there is one.
No, there's not. And I agree completely, because I know when I first got on it and I was actively like working trades and looking for trades, I mean, I was sending out 15 to 20 trades a week. And then it slowly tapered off, and it was mainly because between what I was looking for was getting hard to find, and what I had was getting a little harder and more pick throughs. So to actually find somebody that needed them was a little tougher. I mean, you'll go through and you'll look for trades, and you may find somebody that's got 50 cards that you want, but they won't have one thing on their want list that you have. So
that's definitely definitely a thing. There's definitely plenty of those. And another, just another factor, another thing to keep in mind is while I think that most of us that are collectors, everybody that's in our chat, I mean, everybody that chats with us is traders. We're all different, but we're all the same. Very few, we're not flip vesters.
Right.
But while I think that most of us agree that most everybody coming in is a flip vester looking for money, there are pure collectors that are re-entering the hobby that they're going to eventually make their way to trading card database. For example, I've probably mentioned him on the show. There's a guy that I went to school with from kindergarten all the way through high school. We graduated same year, and he went off to his college. I went to mine. But in the last 18 months, he's gotten back into the hobby. He stopped collecting cards in probably like 9th grade. But he is a collector. He wants his Pirates, Steelers, Penguins. That's for the most part. And then he has a couple of other players he likes. But those are what he cares about. So there are those guys. And, I feel like if I'm correct, I think Zach is pretty new back into the hobby. So there's a lot of years of White Sox cards that he doesn't have that, okay, maybe Porter, doesn't necessarily appreciate them because he doesn't remember the names. But Zach remembers them because he was watching sports all that time. So, I mean, we are, you are getting those. And again, they're the minority. But, hopefully eventually you're able to figure out a way to do that. And like I said, maybe you even just go into the chat and be like, on the message boards and just be like, hey, are there any Diamondbacks collectors that want bulk? I've got roughly, 700 of them for trade. And maybe you just, like I said, maybe you just try to do a blind trade, kind of like you do with Bo. And, you get what you get. And, hopefully it works out for everybody.
Yep. Yeah, we'll figure something out. And like I said, I know I want to go with binders. That I do know. I just got to figure out how. I just want to go about I want to do a binder of, but I mean, if you do a binder of all base, then you're looking at, like a player like Freeman, he's only in his 11th year, so there's 11 different base cards per brand. So you're looking at less than 100 cards. So
I mean,
that's not really a binder. That's a few pages.
Yeah, and it's not the ideal way, but do you just go, okay, all of his Donruss and Donruss Optic are on this page. And then if I fill that page, I throw a page behind it, and then I only have to move one page. I can move the Optics to page 2 and leave the Donruss on page 1. And then you can have top flagship and opening day together. You know what I mean? Depending on how many parallels you're going to try to achieve. But maybe you try to just group those together. You group tops, flagship, opening day, and Chrome together. And then as you acquire more, you're still going to have to move them. But, you left spaces in those pages, or you group them together in such a way that you don't have to now to put one card in, move 5 pages worth of cards, one spot in your binder.
Right.
Just spitballing on something else, because almost everything out there has a dozen parallels.
Oh yeah, especially now, especially if you get into Panini. That's
anything Panini, anything tops flagship, tops Chrome. Not the Ginners, not the Heritage, but pretty much everything else. Like Finest will have all your number color parallels. So maybe that's the way you do it. All your tops Finest are right after your tops Chrome, which are right after your tops flagship. And then you can just put them in there, and you don't even need to necessarily put them in the same order if you don't want to. You could just wait till you fill the page and then put them in either the trading card database alphabetical order or number order or the color order, whatever method you choose. You're going to have a lot of empty spots in a lot of pages, but, it's you kind of got to have one or the other. You got to have a lot of empty spaces, or you got to have very tight, and then you're going to have to move everything.
I missed the 90s where you picked a player and he only had one card, and you just saw how many pages you could fill up with that one card.
I've done that.
I remember. I remember that when Emmitt Smith's Pro Set Rookie came out, me and about every guy I knew in my town had binders with like 9 or 10 pages of Emmitt Smith Pro Set Rookie cards. Then you flip a page and you had pages of Barry Sanders Pro Set cards. You know, just when you fill the page up, you put another blank one in and start filling it up too.
I mean, there's something to be said where, you know, depending on your way of looking at it, it was better back in those days where you only had 50 cards of your favorite, even a star like Dale Murphy, you only had 50 cards or so a year. So it was kind of easy at the end of the season, you know, at the end of the 88 season, when 89 cards start coming out, you could kind of know what you needed left from 88. You could leave the holes because you were likely going to be able to find it. You know, so there's something to be said for those more simple days. Yeah, I had read JT's. Yeah, I've thought about that. Like, I'm like, do I, in a Z Folio, do I want to go this way with the parallels or do I want to go that way with the parallels? There's
now I will
say both fun
that
and stressful.
That's I showed that because I was going to show this. I'm gonna share this. That's the way that I did my my team set binders. Let's see if I can get it to come up. I went ahead and I had them pre-ordered and pre-numbered to where I've got page number, 9 slots, so that as I get the card, I can put it in the appropriate page and the right slot, so that when I go back and get the others, I can go back and fill them in. And that was kind of the way I was thinking about doing, like the pieces, not like Freeman and Murphy. But I look at it and I know that there is a ton of those that it may be down the road before I ever get them, if I ever get them. So,
and that's what I was saying. You know, on the in the mid 80s, late 80s, where even a Dale Murphy had 50, 100, whatever you want to say, cards. You knew what they were. You knew, okay, you may not get them, but it wasn't like you had to leave 150 spaces after one card because you didn't have the next 150. There's definitely, definitely something for the guys that are our age. That something to be said for the simplicity, the good old days. And don't get me wrong, it's fun to try to put rainbows together. I'm usually not willing to, like you said, go after like the 101s and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The only guy I've done that with was Andrew Shaw. And after I lost, I even tried to get back into it earlier this year, and then I lost a couple of 101s, and it just killed my interest. I was like, all right, I'm done.
I missed last year's Freddie Freeman by 2 cards. One is, and I'm still looking for it, but one is the Mother's Day from Topps Flagship, and the other one I know I'll never get, which is the 101. But so technically, I'm missing one from last year's Freddie Freeman.
Yeah, I wouldn't even say that not having the 101 even air quote matters.
So, and that even goes back to having the Montgomery Club version, the 3D version, the mini version, the what is the chip company?
The Attacks?
No, I can't think of it now. But
they came in the Utz chips.
Utz chips.
Pretzels.
That's every possible known variation of that card with different branding or whatever. I was able to pick every one of them up except the Mother's Day and the 101. So, and like I said, if you just exclude the 101, technically I'm just missing the 1.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't think there's anything wrong with missing the 101 because, I mean, the reality is, how many Freddie Freeman collectors are there? Let's just say there's only 100 people that collect him. I know that's not it, but at the end of the day, only one person can have that card.
I went after the 1-of-1 Freeman from last year that came in the set. They did the parallels of the set. You had the gold star, the orange, blue, I think it was, and then you
Yeah,
had the
were you
one
saying
of one
all the
set.
factories, all the
Yeah,
factory set parallels?
I even
Yeah,
I even picked up all those except for the one of one set. And when it popped, and I heard it that somebody had pulled it, I reached out to try to get to Freeman, and like, dude, it was gone within 15 minutes of me finding out. So, all right,
yeah. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, it's like, what are you gonna do? I mean, when I was super collecting Andrew Shaw, the fact of the matter was, I knew of one other Andrew Shaw super collector, and I chased him out because I had already acquired so many of the one of ones and the low numbered stuff, that over time he sold me a lot of the ones I needed. And when I kind of stopped doing it, I actually went to him and said, "Hey, look, I think I'm looking to end this. Do you want to start acquiring them? You know, do you want to start buying them from me? We can, work it out over time," because there was a lot of one of ones, low serial numbered stuff. And he decided he didn't want to do that because he had another player that he was collecting. Yeah, he wasn't somebody like Freddie Freeman, who's got hundreds of people that are actively looking for his stuff. So it was slightly easier.
yeah. All right, we spent 45 minutes on a topic that we didn't mean to that much time. You want to talk about the poll that you posted last week?
I want to give it more than 12 minutes. So we can postpone that.
You sure?
Yeah, it's not a time sensitive thing.
Okay.
It is what it is. I'll make a couple of my mental notes, my points, and we can talk about that later. But yeah, I mean, I'd like to give it a little more time than we've
Yeah.
got left. So,
I did not realize we would go 45 minutes talking about PCs and binders and organization. Trading card database.
Yeah. Well, we've talked offline, not necessarily on the show though, about how you and I we can just take one topic and we go an hour on it. So
right.
Maybe we really do need to stop trying to put two topics into any show.
Yeah, that kind of happened last week.
But yeah, college football. Last week was this past weekend was week 0. I caught a little bit of Illinois and Nebraska. That a whole lot interested me. Obviously, this weekend is the big opening weekend.
Yeah, surprisingly I didn't watch any of it last week. I really spent last weekend trying to get my entire weekend honey-do list done so that it wouldn't interrupt this coming weekend.
I have an amazing wife, and she pretty much during, starting this weekend, there's football on and I want to watch. She doesn't really argue with me. So,
Wow.
I definitely attempt to bank it up though. And,
well, a lot of it was stuff that I knew that needed to be done. Like, I made sure I got all the grass cut and all the weed eating done and all that stuff that can come back to bite you if you let it go for more than 2 weeks. But yeah.
Oh, I got the yard mode. I didn't get out as early as I'd wanted because I asked my ALEXA that I don't want to say her name so she doesn't go active on me. And, also looked online and it's like, ain't no rain today. Each hour had like 15% chance. So I waited a little bit later in the morning and finally got out and did it. And I mean, not half an hour later, the skies opened up. So thankful, or maybe it was the next day. Wait, where was it? It was Sunday I did that. It wasn't Saturday. It was Sunday. Yeah, it was yesterday morning. I got out there about 10:30 and did it. And I feel like it was maybe 30 minutes to an hour. And skies opened up pretty good, even though we weren't supposed to have any rain. So we got that done. Thankfully, we're the part of the year in Texas where there's not usually a lot of rain, so it doesn't grow very fast. I've been able to skip a couple weekends recently.
Yeah, I've got I'm gonna have both my smokers going this weekend, so I'll have my hands full.
Oh yeah, I might wanna talk to Mrs. Bean's Ball Card Blog and ask her if I'm supposed to smoke or cook anything. I may have to move my grill because it was under like a little like a gazebo tent thing, and it got taken out couple months ago by a tree limb. So I still haven't gotten all that. It's too hot in Texas to actually do anything in the summer outside.
Yeah, I'm gonna have I got a Boston butt going in one, and then I've got I think 5 racks of ribs going in the other one. So, and I'm trying to time it to where my Boston butt comes off about 2 hours before my ribs, so that it can sit and rest, and all of it be ready. So
we'll see what we've run into and what the challenge has become is that since my stepson left for college last August, smoking, you know how it is. Although, is yours charcoal or is yours gas?
I'm
what
pellet.
you have or pellet.
I have pellet.
Yeah, on charcoal and everything. I mean, it takes a lot of charcoal.
When
you're doing a brisket that's 12 or 15 hours. I mean, you're doing a lot, and there's just the two of us here.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like if you're going to spend that much time to do it, you want to feed a bunch of people. So that's been part of the problem too. Like I've got, a brisket in the freezer. But I mean, we would have to have brisket every night for about 2 months. And that would go over leads. And I would get tired of brisket at a certain point.
Brisket around my house lasts about 3 days.
Well, you got a lot of family. Like I said, it's just me and her. It's just me and her. So,
Now,
does Rutgers still have a football team?
Go Rutgers.
I mean, they had a team for like 3 years there, but
I thought they were a lacrosse team.
Huh?
Are they not a lacrosse school? Lacrosse? Is that not what they're known for? I could be wrong.
I know enough about lacrosse to know that I think Johns Hopkins is a lacrosse school, and that's about it. Syracuse.
Now, our local high school has started a lacrosse team this year. I don't know. I might go check it out though. It looks interesting.
Yeah. Oh, it is. It is. It's just obviously not very popular and all of that, and it doesn't seem like anything ever seems to get swept popular. I mean, soccer's been the America's sport of the future for 40 years.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's getting bigger, but I mean, after 40 years, you'd think you'd be a little bit bigger by now. Yeah, Rutgers really is. It's the team that you don't want to play because, by God, if they do beat you, your season is over.
It's kind of like the mentality that most of the kids had when my boys was wrestling in middle school and high school. And this is not my opinion at all, but none of them wanted to wrestle a girl.
Oh, I agree.
For the exact same.
I wrestled 1 year and almost had to.
Now, given that some of the girls that I saw wrestled in high school and middle school when my boys was coming through were some serious wrestlers. They took it serious. They knew what they were doing and they knew how to do it. But at the same time, if they won the match, the guy won the match over the girl, they still caught it from the teammates. Well, it was just a girl.
Yeah. No,
but now if she beats him, then they're
yeah. No, I wrestled 1 year in middle school or in junior high, and almost had to wrestle a girl in the tournament. And I don't even know what the adjective is for what I was. Yeah. Maybe mortified is the best word. And I get it. I mean, I just reply to Diego. I get it. You have an attachment to a school. Nothing wrong with that. But you know how it is. When you're on top, you can dish it out a little more, and when you're on the bottom, you have to take a little bit more.
Yep. Especially if you was ever on top and you dished it out. When you get down to the bottom, you really have to take. Yep. All right. Well, you want to do your? I almost forgot about.
Oh yeah, we did have a shout out. We haven't had one in a while.
All right, let me.
So I do have a shout out. Would you be interested in seeing 2 Babe Ruth cards that PSA won't grade? I'm asking.
Me? You're asking me?
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
sure.
Would you find it cool to see that? Well, then you and everyone else that said yes should check out Vintage Oddball Cards. Now, I apologize. I may have actually used them as my shout out, used Rick's channel as my shout out before, but I love Rick's channel. Again, vintage oddball cards. Not everything's necessarily oddball, but I mean, it's primarily vintage. And I feel like I learn something new every time I watch one of his videos. Like I said, he did a Babe Ruth card, 2 Babe Ruth PSA cards cards that PSA won't grade. But he doesn't just show them, hey, this is what it is. He talks about the set and he's informative. I've been collecting without pause for 35 years. That's a long time. And there is still substantially more in this hobby that I don't know than I do know. And I think just about everyone can say the same. Most of these so-called experts out there literally they're an expert in like this amount of stuff, but they have no idea about what is actually out there. But yeah, Rick's, like I said, just Rick's channel. He just shows some stuff you're not going to see on many other channels, if any, because there just aren't a whole lot of vintage channels. But yeah, he ends up with just some random stuff. And it was funny. I had actually picked him to be my shout out for tonight. And then after that, I saw in my feed come up, I saw the video he posted today about Babe Ruth cards. So I encourage everyone that has not checked his channel out to go check him out and hopefully subscribe.
And I posted the link in chat, so make it easier for everybody.
Oh, do it now.
Yeah, go now.
And hopefully I get to meet him at the national. In it, hashtag NSCC 2023. I'm shooting for it.
So it sounds like Peeps and Diego already know about him. So
yeah, I mean, I figure a lot of people do. He actually is, and maybe some of the guys in the chat know. I know some know, some may not. The Sports Card YouTube Hall of Fame that they've been running for 3 years now. He actually was one that was elected this year, elected by his peers. It's everybody that has that's on YouTube can vote. They can do a ballot, and he was actually voted in this year, and it was very well deserved.
I'm trying to copy the link.
To the actual video.
To the actual video.
Hi, this is Rick, Vintage Ball Cards.
All right, here we go. I'll post it in chat too. And this is the actual video that you were talking about. So
yeah, it just pretty much every video he posts, I watch them all. Like if I go and click on his page, I've got like the red scroll bar all the way to the end because I've already watched the video. And almost every one I learned something. So
yep.
I definitely highly recommend for anyone that has not checked out his channel.
And Peeps says if anyone would be interested in a Peeps Wax Pack, holler at me with your address, and I'll see if I can't send you something interesting.
Those are definitely showing up more in the YouTube. I've seen a couple of those in the last couple of days. Very nice.
There's his email address.
I love his custom packs. Those are awesome.
I've got to get caught up on YouTube. I'm so far behind. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I've even missed probably the last week of Bose because of work, and it's just been so hectic. And
in fairness, I think he's only live 3 times in the last week.
Oh, good. So I've only missed 3. No, I've only missed 2 because I did catch one of them. Gotcha. Sunday. Was it Sunday? He was having trouble with chat.
Yeah, it was Sunday because he was doing his card show review. Well, and something else I just learned, I think about a little over a week ago, was how you can play them at faster speeds. So I'm getting through them a lot faster now.
On YouTube?
Yeah. So if you're on your computer, You know how like if you hover over the video, like the thing comes up where you can pause, all that kind of stuff. Go look over to the right, and there's a little gear, like a little gear logo, and then see a playback speed. You can adjust the play speed. And then I have a Roku TV, and I have and I have Apple TV, and you can do it on both of those apps too. I assume you could do it probably on your phone, or most places you can do that. So yeah, I mean, I usually play most of them at time and a half, so I'm getting through them a lot faster, and I'm not getting backed up anymore.
I didn't know that. I knew you could do it on podcasts, but I didn't know you could do it on YouTube.
Yeah, I mean, you can't do it on live streams, obviously, but anything that's, archived live should be able to do that on. So, helpful hint if you want to hear me talk a little faster. You're watching replay, although now I guess at this point it's the end of the show, so that wasn't very helpful.
I've realized that obviously, but some people you can do that with, some people you can't.
I go 1.5, and it's almost everybody I can do, because I'm usually just listening as I work. I'm not really watching, but there are certain ones that I watch at a slower speed, and there are some people that talk so slow. Go at the 1.75, and I've contemplated going to double time. Well, my videos have gotten short, but I was referring like this hour.
Yeah.
I've definitely started going with shorter videos.
The first person I heard to ever recommend like listening at like double speed or 1.5 speed was Dr. Beckett. When he first started doing podcasts, he said that's how he listened to podcasts. And he even recommended doing it to his. And when I was trying to catch up, because I think he was like 25 or 30 episodes in when I found his podcast. So, like everything else, when you find something, you want to go back and listen to all of it. And that's how I started listening to like the first 20. But I've noticed that but I guess because he was just getting used to it and he was kind of talking a little more slow and methodical, you could speed it up to a time 1.5 to 2, but his podcast now you can't do it.
I can run it at 1.5, but if I'm trying to listen because he has them on YouTube now. So I've been listening to those. If it is one where I'm really trying to listen, very attentively, I do have to go down to about 1.25. But yeah, so I've been doing that. So it's really helped out. I mean, it's funny how some of these like hour to 2 hour podcasts I listen to, now I've got them on time and a half, 1.5 or 1.75, and I mean, they're over before I know it, and I'm used to it like just dragging on.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're over fast. That was definitely helpful.
Peeps was asking other than Braves, what I've been looking for lately. That's pretty much it. I mean, it's Braves, Freddie Freeman's, and Dale Murphy's. Besides my sets, I mean, I'm still trying to finish the 72 set, and I'm trying to finish the high numbers on the 72 or this year's Heritage. And other than that, I'm not really chasing anything. And no, Diego, I'm not looking for Alec bombs. On the other hand, now I am smoking some meat next week, so I'll need some fire starters. So, do you want to send me?
I was going to say, I mean, we are coming up on fall and winter. It's campfire season.
Need marshmallow fuel. Yeah.
You never know. Bet you those heritage dinners will burn up real nice.
Diego sent me and it was, I mean, I can only call it a rack because I didn't know it was coming, and it was a bunch of Braves cards, Freeman's, Murphy's, and he had a note in there that said that he wanted to send me an Alec bomb because he knew I wanted it, which he's referring back to the play at home the first time the Phillies played Atlanta this year, and he slid into home and was called safe, and his foot never touched the plate, but it is what it is now. I mean, they're like 5 games behind. So,
you baseball fans, you're always fighting.
All right, man. We done gone over hours. So we'll end it here, and I'm gonna end it with Go Dogs, and I mean, it'd be nice if everybody's favorite team can win next weekend, but they can't.
I got nothing. See, I don't know how good or bad we're supposed to be. I've gone from being a year-round daily fan, everything, to I just watch the games now.
Yeah.
And what happens, happens. I don't even get upset if we lose anymore.
Dan said it's hard if we go 90 minutes, but I just don't think I got it in me. My grandson's in there, and I want to go play with him.
I actually did. Yeah, I did actually hear somebody in the background. So, yeah, I can hear him.
Oh, yeah. He's in there having a ball without me, so I'm going to go join him. But, Peeps, I might reach out to you about one of those Peeps wax packs and open it up on YouTube. So, all right. Y'all take care, and we'll see y'all next week. Have a good weekend.